All right. I'm here just after 5 o'clock in the early evening hours on Friday, the 19th, week 3 of this NFL season. I'm Bobby Trosset. As always, this is where I bring you Baltimore sports and beyond. It is brought to you by a number of my sponsors, including, I want to say shout out and thanks to the Ravens and Bottled, who just kicked off a new campaign and are launching Charm City Spirits. So you can probably see over my right shoulder, they were nice enough to send a couple things. And I just wanted to read directly from the press release that the Ravens and Bottled have teamed up to launch Charm City Spirits, a new limited edition spirits lineup built to fuel tailgates, watch parties, and celebrations for the purple and black. And let me grab a couple of these gifts. Because gifts they are, boy. I should just bring these to the tailgate this weekend, huh? Take a look. Oh, my goodness. As you can see, you've got a vodka and you've got a whiskey as well. So anyway, you got the Charm City vodka, Charm City straight bourbon whiskey, each wrapped in striking bottle designs, as you see, that channel the spirit, pride, and poetry of Baltimore. Every detail of the bottle was crafted for those who bleed purple and black, proudly commemorating 30 seasons of the organization. So thank you to them. This, I'm sure, will be put to good use, not during the bye week because I'm going to be in Banff, Canada, but at some point in the offseason, if not before, on a random Friday night, probably during a walk-in talk or after a walk-in talk that goes south like last night's did, by the way. These will be put to use. So you can follow them on Instagram if you want to learn more at Charm City Spirits. It's brand new. Really nice of them to allow me to get a little bit of product and tell you a little bit about Charm City Spirits along the way. Hit them up on Instagram. And that's the way we begin the show today. Oh, we got to crack one for Mina Kimes, don't we? What a fun day it was. Thank you guys for being with me. And there's a lot to discuss, obviously, going into Monday Night Football in Baltimore. Be More Around Town has been a proud partner of mine over the last couple of years where I've done my pregame live streams. And I got to tell you, I would love to see some of you guys out pregame coming up on Monday. And I just talked to Brian Snyder, who owns Be More Around Town. Jimmy Smith will be the Ravens legend of the game. You guys know he has graced this show with his presence, the vault with his presence, the collective Tuesday nights a couple weeks ago. And he will be the legend of the game at Be More Around Town. He'll be coming on the show that day, which I very much look forward to. And right now, as you see on the bottom line and in the pinned comment and in the show notes, if you use code Bobby5, that's BOBBY 5 at checkout at BeMoreAroundTown.com, it'll get you $5 off your entry fee to the pregame live stream at Be More Around Town, which is located at 801 West Austin Street. I know so many of you have already reached out about plans, what to do pregame. I know PHP and some of the Voltrons will be in Lot G. There's no reason I don't see why not, why you can't do both. So would love for you to come to 801 West Austin Street, Be More Around Town. Go check them out in the show notes to learn more. And again, this is where you can find all the information, BeMoreAroundTown.com. It's coming up September 22nd. Jimmy Smith, you're going to have Go-Go Gadget performing. The place is going to be lit the hell up. DJ Chrome in the building, live music, premium open bar and food. I think you guys probably get the whole point by now. And you've seen me at these pregame live streams doing Jello shots, meeting women from Nashville, having legends of the game on, and having a whole lot of fun along the way. So would love to see you guys out there. Enjoy your weekends in the meantime. And I would love for you to hit me up on social media and or email me if you plan on coming out or if you have any questions as well. Well, we got a lot of content to get to today, of course, related to this game coming up on Monday night. I think that there's an argument to be made that the Ravens have a psychological advantage over Detroit, despite these Lions coming in high flying, having put 52. That's the number they hung on the Chicago Bears in week 2. Now, they were, I don't want to say embarrassed, but they didn't look good in week 1 against the Packers. And quite frankly, the Packers may represent the NFC this year, so perhaps deservedly so. So we're going to take a look at Derrick Henry's thoughts. He sent a scalding hot message to the universe, to Detroit, to his locker room, to reporters just a short while ago. We'll begin with that. We'll take a look at what the Lions are doing to prepare for Lamar Jackson and this high-flying, potent Baltimore offense. We'll give you my instant reaction, of course, to the Thursday, which is technically Friday injury report for the Ravens as they prepare for this one. 8:15 coming up on Monday night. Without further ado, this is courtesy of Jamison Hensley, other beat reporters on the scene. Charlie Sheen? No, on the scene at One Winning Drive a short while ago. Locker room media scrum, if you will. The coordinators met with the media today as well. Not a ton to go around in terms of newsworthy notes. But Derrick did have this to say in response to coming off a game in which he had 23 yards on 11 carries. That's the least throughout his time in Baltimore to date. Quote, "Be better and never let that happen again. Me, myself, first, be better, be more efficient, and be more explosive." And as Jamison noted here, the Ravens face a Lions defense that is in the middle of the pack when it comes to defending the run. I expect the Ravens, much like they did in October of 2023, to win the line of scrimmage from an offensive standpoint, win the trenches, open up the opportunity for the passing game by establishing the run early with Derrick Henry, with Justice Hill, and we'll take a look at who's RB3, who, again, will primarily be a special teams contributor. Rasheen Ali was upgraded. More on that, though, once we get to the injury report, since he's dealing with a concussion, or at least in a certain level of concussion protocol, if you will, coming off of being knocked out of that game against the Browns. So, again, scalding hot message here from King Henry. You got to credit the Browns in a lot of ways for how they handled them. 11 carries for 23 yards. The Ravens as a team, had 45 total rushing yards. That's the least throughout the entire Lamar era in Baltimore. Okay, so in some sense, Jim Schwartz, Myles Garrett, Malik Collins, right, those linebackers, they did their job, but they didn't do their job through the air in that second half. And Todd Monken and company made a concerted effort to attack Cleveland vertically, and they did so successfully. Of course, Lamar threw 4 touchdowns en route to a pretty convincing win, 41-17. And now, as a result, the Ravens get a chance to win a couple consecutive games before they travel to Arrowhead for a Week 4 game against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a 4:25 start coming up next week, which should be an absolute movie if it lives up to the expectations that surround those matchups. And speaking of expectations, would we expect anything less than Lamar Jackson on Monday night, where he has been utterly dominant throughout his career? 24-2 against NFC teams, of which the Detroit Lions are, and 7-2 on Monday Night Football with a 22-0. That's a goose egg touchdown to interception ratio. He's been exceptional, and there's signature games that you think of that come to mind, whether it be the Rams Jackson 5 game, his 2019 first unanimous MVP season. There's only been one. It should have been 2, but you get the point. The breakout Lamar Jackson season, the Joe Tessitore labeled Jackson 5 performance on the road in LA against the Rams. You want to know who was quarterbacking that team? Jared Goff. He talked about Lamar Jackson earlier this week.
He really is. I mean, I think his legs get a lot of attention, but I don't know if his passing ability gets the attention it may deserve. And he's as good of a passer as there is in this league. If you look at the numbers, he's as good as anyone throwing the ball over over his career, but specifically the last 3 or 4 years, he's been pretty on fire. And our defense has their hands full with him, but I expect them to play well.
Kind words there from Jared Goff, who's certainly resurrected his career after what? The Rams kind of left him high and dry in a sense. And now who knows? Maybe the Lions have a chance to represent the NFC when it's all said and done. And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, this is an early preview of a game that might be played in Santa Clara coming up in February of 2026. But I think you get the point. Lamar has been lights out, as Sleeper Ravens notes on X. 165 of 239, meaning completions to overall passing attempts. That's a 69% completion percentage, if you will, throughout these Monday night contests over his career, which is now in year 8. Over 1,900 passing yards, 22 touchdowns to no interceptions, like we already mentioned, a quarterback rating of 124.3. And oh, by the way, he's 7-2 in such games. But again, you can think of all of these signature games like that Rams one in 2019. I thought the Bucs one recently was pretty darn good. I'm sure you guys can think of others as well. Did they play Indianapolis? Did they play the Colts on Monday night during one of his all-time performances maybe? Do I feel like that was the case? There's been several others as well. But clearly, Lamar's in history mode. He's making history as he goes and seemingly chases after rewriting record books on a weekly basis at the rate in which he's going. He currently owns the NFL all-time passer rating number, okay? Just edging Aaron Rodgers by a fraction of a point, even though it doesn't show that here on the Amazon Prime graphic. And yeah, pretty good company as well when you've got Rodgers, perhaps the greatest thrower of the football of all time during his prime. Mahomes, of course, makes this list, as does Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson. By the way, Joe did undergo surgery for the grade 3 turf toe setback that he sustained last weekend today. So his 3-month timetable, if you will, begins today. That'll be something to watch from a Cincinnati perspective. And as we know, last year, Lamar, of course, added and continues to add and surpass. There's nobody else to surpass at this point, though, when it comes to most rushing yards in NFL history, over 6,200 and counting, past Michael Vick, who owned that record for several years going into last season. So it's been really, really special, and it was really, really special October of 2023 when the Ravens absolutely pounded the Lions in Baltimore, and it's something that Detroit, by their media, has been asked about and reminded all week long. Do you guys remember it? Again, October 22nd, it was a 1 o'clock game in Baltimore, and the Ravens, I mean, they boat raced Detroit. They got contributions from all over the place. They outgained the Lions that day 503 to 337. Yards per play was astronomical, the average. 9.1 for the Ravens. 9.1. They were 50% on third down, and they were 1 for 1 on fourth down. It was bully ball to the nth degree. And it's something that, as you see on the screen here, Dan Campbell and other key pieces to this Detroit franchise were asked about over and over and over again. Matter of fact, I'm going to play a clip in a second here of Jared Goff acknowledging exactly that. 5 consecutive questions tossed his way related to this October 2023 game. And while it's 2 years ago and teams change every single year, I think there's an element, and I think a lot of this just has to do naturally with the NFC in general because of how much they've struggled against Lamar. Daniel Jones and the Giants a couple years ago, and of course, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in December of last year, the only 2 teams to this point that have beaten Lamar Jackson's Ravens over 8 years running. Dan Campbell asked about it. He says, you don't forget those. Quote, I want to go in this place and know that we can continue to get better. Also quoted for saying, we can't give anything away on defense. We've got to be very disciplined. Again, the quarterback that day, back in October of 2023, for whatever it's worth, was Jared Goff. And here he is being peppered about that game and what he remembers.
Heard about the 2023 game?
Yeah, they kicked our butt. They got after us early and often, and yeah, we certainly remember that.
What can you draw from that 2023 game and Ravens? Like, you go back and watch that tape at all? Is there any value in that from a preparing standpoint?
Yeah, maybe some motivation value that, you know, we we just kind of went in there and they took it to us. I think we've got a lot of respect for their team and their coaches and the way they've gone about their business for a long time. And I'd like to feel they feel the same way about us, but we got to go in there and prove it and show them that, we obviously can hang with them and we're a great team. And in that instance, we didn't. So certainly have a little bit to prove this week.
A lot's changed in 2 years. How much do you feel like you guys have changed since that Baltimore game last?
Yeah, we've grown up a little bit. Absolutely, we've matured. We've gotten another 36, 40 games or so under our belt since then, and they're a different team. We're a different team. I don't know if that game speaks much to this game, other than maybe provides a little bit of extra juice for us. But I don't think there's much other than that to carry over.
Obviously, you always want to start games hot, but given what happened in that game, is there more urgency to make sure that you don't fall behind quickly?
That game was 2 years ago, and that's question number 5. Yes, but you're right. And I've played these guys a couple times now, a few times, and I played them in LA, and I think it was a very similar type of game where they were up on us early, and they can do that. With Lamar and the offense they can start out fast and get hot. So our defense, we're relying on them to play well, and then we got to play well on our part too offensively.
Oh, Jared Goff, he's a good sport, and he remembers the Rams loss too, right? We just referenced a little while ago. I believe he's referencing the 2019 game, and that was the Monday Night Football game where Lamar and the Ravens came into LA on a Monday night primetime audience and just boat raced the Rams. And of course, that was the year where Greg Roman and company, and the way that they were schematically built, with a stellar offensive line that included Marshall Yanda before he retired, an all-pro season by Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, Orlando Brown, baby Zeus at right tackle. You had, who else was out there? Bradley Bozeman, right? Matt Skora. It was a hell of an offensive line. And between Gus Edwards, I don't think J.K. Dobbins was on that team yet. Mark Ingram, of course. Justice Hill, I think, was a rookie that year. And not to mention, Lamar went for over 1,200 yards. I mean, you just had so much to account for. You had Marquise Hollywood Brown out there taking the top off the defense, or at least the threat of him was there to potentially take the top off of the defense. So Jared Goff knows this feeling all too well. And you heard him right there. They kicked our butt. They got after us early and often. We certainly remember that. We just kind of went in there and they took it to us. We've got a lot of respect for their team. I'd like to feel the same way about us, meaning I'd like to feel they feel the same way about us, but we got to go out there and prove it and show them that we obviously can hang with them. Look, I think there's a psychological advantage here in favor of the Ravens. Do I think that 2023 matters come game time? I don't know. I'm sure that's up for debate. There are different personnel. There are different members of the staff. And quite frankly, it's 2 years removed. The amount of football change, whether it be personnel, staff, schematics, you name it, between then and now is countless. It's immeasurable, probably. But the idea that there is a ton of turnover, even in the midst of all that change, or I should say, not a ton of turnover in the midst of all that change, meaning there's a lot of Ravens that were a part of that game in 2023 that are still in Baltimore, and vice versa on the Detroit side. I do think that has some sort of factor in ultimately what the Ravens' game plan is and how confident they come in, and really more so than anything else, what goes into a fast start. And I think they get on this Lions team quick from the jump. Now, why I think I'm going with a shootout, somewhat of a shootout. I'm going to pick a Ravens win, and we'll have score predictions and everything like that coming up on Monday on the Vault. But I'm not convinced that the Ravens defense can hang with Detroit for 4 quarters. Do I think that Detroit's defense can hang with the Ravens offense for 4 quarters? No, I don't. But I think the Ravens defense can hang more so, right, than what Detroit can attempt to do defensively with Baltimore. I think Isaiah Likely is going to have a good shot to return in this game. There's going to be more 12 personnel. I would think he'll be on a pitch count. We'll get to the injury report a little bit later on, and Isaiah Likely sure looks like he's trending to be able to go. He's been limited so far, back-to-back days of practice, so it'll just be something to watch, I would think, based on them not designating him to injured reserve several weeks ago before the season started. That's a suggestion that they do feel like he's going to be good to go. But that'll obviously be a big boost for this Ravens offense, because don't expect Pat Ricard to be out there, which is obviously a disadvantage. If there's any disadvantage the Ravens are at, it's as long as 42 is sidelined, rushing the football the way they want to do, and the way they were able to do without him week 1 against the Bills is harder and harder. It's going to come at a premium, especially against some of these top defenses with big-time fronts like they're going to see moving forward, especially in a couple weeks from now when they go to Arrowhead and see Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and everybody else that Kansas City presents. Big challenges up and down that Spagnuolo defensive front. Let's go to Lions defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. I think you guys will enjoy this one in terms of how he and this Lions defense is preparing for number 8, knowing what happened again 2 years ago.
Or do well everything. What does he not do well? Nothing. I mean, he could beat you all different ways. Run game, pass game. Pass game, he could do it in the pocket, out of the pocket. So, I mean, it's why he's who he is, multi-year MVP in this league, and have the utmost respect for this player. He's a dynamic player in this league, and he's hard to prepare for. I've gotten a lack of sleep this week due to him, so I make sure I let him know that after this game.
When you face somebody like that, do you almost have to he's so dynamic out of the pocket, not only running but throwing the ball too? Is it one of those situations where, if he drops back, Shep, and he throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, you tip your cap and you move on, but you got to find one way to stop him and not let him kind of do multiple things?
No, I wouldn't be tipping my cap 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't think any of us would be tipping our cap to that stat. But, no, I know what you mean, Tim, like trying to make them one-dimensional, so to say. And it's hard to do. The fact they've added D. Henry, it only doubled down on it. Like, it's hard to make this team one-dimensional. You just got to go in with a plan that we've created as a staff that we feel gives our players an opportunity to go out and have success against this unit. I mean, they're dynamic. You got Zay Flowers, you got Likely, you got Andrews, you got Henry, you got Lamar. I mean, that's before you talk about one of the strengths of the team is the front, the bigs. I mean, this team is who they are. Every year you're talking about the Ravens in the championship contention. Every year in and year out. And over the last couple of years, you've talked about us in the same context. So this is 2 teams. We know where this game stands. Now, it's early in the year. This isn't a deciding factor of who's going to the Super Bowl or anything, but it is a litmus test for us and let us know where do you really stand against the big boys in the league.
I got to tell you, I learn a lot, and I think it's great perspective to the days leading into whatever opponent is on the Ravens schedule, learning a lot about how the league views Baltimore. I think sometimes your viewpoints can become a little skewed as a fan when it comes to just your simple diehard mentality about the one and only, in some cases, team that you watch and cover and follow on any given day year round. And so I'll have a clip later on from the special teams coach, for example, in Detroit that had glowing remarks, kind of what you just heard there from the Lions defensive coordinator, right? Kelvin Shepard on Lamar. What does Lamar do well? Everything, he says. What does Lamar not do well? Nothing. He's hard to prepare for. I've gotten a lack of sleep this week due to him. And I don't think he's just saying that to say it. These guys mean it. And the numbers bear that out. This is his historical run that Lamar is on over the last 20 games, guys. 367 of 543 attempts have been completed. Over 4,900 passing yards. Over 1,000 rushing yards. Do the math on this in terms of the average per game. 57 touchdowns to 4 picks and a passer rating of 125.1. This is magical stuff from a magical player. And again, it's got grown men, professionals, right? Looking back at the last time they faced this player with this offense that, by the way, didn't even include Derrick Henry. Let's be clear on that. October 23, he was still in Tennessee. That was his final season as a Titan. Their talented tight end, for example, in Detroit, Sam Laporta, reflected on that game.
On 2023 loss with the Ravens. Yes, I felt like we were outperformed. We were out-physicaled. We definitely didn't play complementary football. We had 2 3-and-outs to start the game on offense. So we touched the ball 6 times, and we looked up and we were down 21-0. So definitely not complementary football at the end of the day.
Jesus. I mean, is this something else or what? This is a team that almost came out of the NFC last year, for starters, if it weren't for an epic collapse in the postseason, right? They would have had a darn good chance to be the NFC representative in New Orleans. But they folded, and they've folded several times in January over the last couple of years under Dan Campbell, which is shocking because they've mowed down competition at times throughout the regular season. Does that sound familiar? It's the elephant in the room there. It's all too familiar for some of us when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens. But again, this is a team that's coming off, they're feeling their oats in a lot of ways. 52 points, I get it. It's Chicago. They're probably not a playoff team. But 52 points, that's what they hung on the Chicago Bears. Now, with all of that said, Sam Laporta, very talented tight end. Ravens linebackers are going to have to be ready for him in the middle part of the field. He is a security blanket at times when you take, which is very hard to do, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams out of the game. It's very difficult to do. Remember, they have a trio of pass catchers in Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and of course, Sam Laporta. And that's not even mentioning Jahmyr Gibbs, who can do both. So this is a potent offense. And if you're not getting pressure on Jared Goff and you allow him to drop back, right, that play action style of offense for him, he's going to have a chance to surgically pick you apart like he's done so many times. And I'm just not convinced from a pressure standpoint, because of Kyle Van Noy being down, because of the acclimation process that Mike Green finds himself in right now as a first-year player that only has 2 games under his belt, right? Not to mention, we'll get to the we'll get to the injury report in just a bit. Nnamdi Madubuike trending towards potentially not being available in this one. That's a big loss for the interior part of this defensive line. I would suspect that Brent Urban is a candidate to be a practice squad call-up, I would think, come Monday. But you get the point. You have to put pressure on Jared Goff. He can be a statue if you're putting pressure on him. He wants to stay in the pocket. He doesn't want to get out of the pocket. That's not his strength. He's a gunslinger. He's an accurate player and an accurate thrower of the football. And if you give him time like you did Josh Allen in the fourth quarter, he will burn you. I'm sorry. He's going to burn you. I don't trust this defense yet, particularly against an offense like this and as potent as Detroit can be if they're not getting pressure. Especially when you know the tape is already out there. That second half of the fourth quarter is out there, and everybody's seen it so far week 1 in Buffalo, including Sam Laporta of Detroit.
Start faster, and I don't want to say that we hit the panic button too early. We definitely were a little frantic, but we know that we're a great team. We were a good team back then as well, and a 21-point deficit isn't the end of the world. You saw the Bills come back with 15 points in 10 minutes the other day against them. Obviously, different year and everything, but it can be done against great teams, and we know that we can do that if we find ourselves in that position again, which we definitely won't.
Everybody's seen it, right? We've all seen it. At this point, the entire NFL world has seen it, and at least, maybe at the very least, it's in the back of their minds that they know, as Mike Tomlin said, sometimes you just kind of lean back and let the Ravens self-destruct. It's been a disturbing trend. It's happened way too often in recent years in the fourth quarter with double-digit leads. There's a lot to celebrate, the fact that they have had those double-digit leads, but the inability to consistently finish games has plagued this team, and they have to nip that in the bud before this season really starts to get into the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter. Only 2 weeks in. I'm not willing to sit here and make a blanket statement that this is who the 25 and 26 Ravens will be based on what they showed a couple weeks ago. And there's obviously only so many conclusions that can be made coming off a game against the Cleveland Browns, which I'm sure that organization will be picking top 5, barring something unforeseen come April in the draft. More thoughts on the injury report, this overall game, Derrick Henry's thoughts, Troy Aikman on DeAndre Hopkins, and a number of other things, including your super chats which are pouring in right now, and I really appreciate that, guys. But before I do any of that, this episode is brought to you by my friends at ProfitX. It's America's #1 sports prediction market, and it's available to you out there in 40-plus states. Where, you might ask? Well, I'll show you the map right now across the country. I know I'm in Florida. It's available down here. A lot of you are in the Northeast, Beltway area, DMV maybe. I don't know. Some of you are in the Midwest. I know Dre Dog's down in South Carolina. You guys are sprinkled all over the place. 40-plus states. ProfitX is available, as you see right there on the screen. And as you also see, there is an incentive to get involved and have a little bit of fun, whether it be season-long go-to plays, player props, you name it. You want to take a close look ahead at this Lions-Ravens matchup, which we'll do via screen share in just a second. But if you sign up at profitx.co, just know the promo code BobbyB, BOBBYB, will get you up to $200 in profit cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. And if you want to know a little bit of something about ProfitX, just know that you'll get better odds than traditional sports books because you're playing against others, not the house. And with ProfitX, you can request your own odds, play with confidence, and get super fast payouts straight to the bank, card, or even crypto. So again, that's profitx.co. Consider signing up now. You can start winning real money predicting sports. Terms and conditions do apply. And if you click the link, or just simply, how about this? Because I don't have the link featured for overall YouTube community standard guidelines and safety. But if you go to your own search box, whether you're on a desktop or mobile, you can just simply type in profitx.co. That'll take you to this page right here. It's super easy. The dashboard's really easy to work, and the options are endless. Obviously, we're taking a close look at the Ravens-Lions game, which is the last one on this list, being that it's Monday night and the final game of that Week 3 slate. But the Bengals will take on the Vikings. No Joe Burrow, no J.J. McCarthy from Minnesota. So it's going to be a battle of backups, Carson Wentz and Jake Browning. That'll be an interesting one. Cleveland, good luck. They got Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers coming to town. But as I toggle all the way down here, let's take a look what ProfitX has going on right now in this one. Monday night at the bank, 4.5-point home favorites are the Ravens. The over-under set at 53. And you could do so many different pass props, passing rushing yards props. Take a look. Passing attempts, Jared Goff and Lamar. So profitx.co, code BobbyB, learn more, profitx.co. Appreciate them for the continued support and appreciate all of you guys for being here today with me. Let's get to some super chats, shall we? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's see. We kicked things off with Asmodeus Thanatos, a.k.a. the wingman of the year by the name of Richard, Virginia's finest. And Richard writes, you doing a giveaway for the whiskey I want, LOL. Oh, yeah? You want a little bit of whiskey, huh? Charm City Spirits. You know, honestly, Richard, I should send you one of these bottles. 750 milliliters. Honoring the 30th season, of course, of the Ravens' existence. It's a new partnership between Bottled and the organization. I just got to figure out when the hell I'm breaking this sucker open. But I wouldn't mind doing a giveaway. Maybe I'll reach out to Charm City. You know what? How about this, Richard? I will reach out to my contact that sent this in the first place. And I think it'd be really fun to do a giveaway. Matter of fact, I'll do this right now. We're at 34:38. That's the timestamp. Okay, 34:38. I'm going to go ahead and send this to the folks at Bottled and the Ravens and their PR company. And who knows? That'd be fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Matter of fact. Good idea, Richard. Guy's always producing the show, man. Thank you guys for being here. Over 800 concurrents at the moment. If you could like the video on the way in, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member. I see Joe Jenkins has gifted 5 Bobby Baltimore memberships, which fires me up, Joe. You're the man. I'll get to you in just a second. Look who it is with his vault hat. DHB Senior, Douglas H. Brown Sr., a $20 super chat on this Friday. Thanks to you, my brother. I hope you're great. You've been working your ass off this week, man. I know you haven't had a chance to catch us live a lot inside the vault because you've been in the field. Thank you, as always. I hope you're gearing up for Monday Night Football. Joe Jenkins is in the house. 5 channel memberships. I got to go check out what my count is. By the way, you guys have been incredible on the vault, man. Over 1,300 active channel memberships, active Voltrons. You guys, just an amazing support system we have here. Eric Hill gifted out 4 tickets to Monday Night Football coming up next week to 4 Voltrons. Incredible generosity. Thanks, Joe. Olu says, we were blitzing heavy then. Relax, Bobby. It's week 3. Which game are you referring to? Monday against Buffalo? Or excuse me, week 1 against Buffalo? If so, they were not showing many exotic looks whatsoever against the Bills. We were blitzing heavy then. What game is that? Because it was a vanilla-based defense from Zach Orr. Please expand a little bit, will you, Olu? Appreciate you, brother. Nick Marty says, teams that scored 50 points or more the following week normally lose the following week in the past few years. I'd like to see some numbers on that, Nick. And again, to be clear, I'm absolutely picking the Ravens coming up on Monday. And again, we'll do predictions and specific scores then. But I do think that Detroit's going to get theirs, if you will, on this Ravens defense if Baltimore doesn't come prepared. Y'all ready for the instant reaction to the injury report that came out a short while ago? This is courtesy of Ravens Productions. And as you see, it's getting a little bit more lengthy than I think a lot of us would prefer. Rasheen Ali, though, and for you Keaton Mitchell fans out there, maybe you don't like this upgraded status. But from limited to full goes Rasheen Ali, who's been RB3 so far through the first 2 weeks, the primary kickoff return specialist, and somebody that has beaten out, at least in terms of the team's evaluation, Keaton Mitchell from being active on game day. Rasheen was seen in a red non-contact jersey, meaning he was still in some level of concussion protocol after being knocked out really from the opening jump of Sunday's game against the Browns. And that red non-contact jersey was seen on him yesterday. Well, it wasn't seen today, according to reporters on the scene. And so there you have it. Rasheen Ali upgraded to a full participant. Perhaps he is on the outside looking in of that whole concussion protocol. So good for him. Probably not great for Keaton moving forward. Marlon Humphrey has been a full participant all week long after popping up with a groin. John Jenkins, another personal issue for him, or excuse me, it was a personal non-injury related situation that forced him to miss Thursday's practice. But he was upgraded, I should say, to a full participant today. So good news for Travis Jones' backup. Isaiah Likely's been limited all week. He popped onto the Purple Pregame show, or excuse me, Purple Playbook. That's a WJZ show that's going to be at Jimmy's Famous Seafood in Dundalk, I think, a little bit. I think it's on Wednesdays moving forward. But just in case you missed it, this is what Isaiah Likely told WJZ.
One of our players, Sanus, caught a ball, landed on my ankle a little wrong. Sanus trying to make a great play on the ball, ended up stepping my foot always by accident. Grabbed my foot, felt like I couldn't put pressure on it. Went inside, got MRI, seen that I had to crack my 5th metatarsal. Got surgery, got the timestamp. Been a little too patient. Obviously talking to Coach Harves, trying to get back, but obviously knowing the end game is to make sure I'm good, down the road. So, taking it week by week. And right now just, itching to get back out there. Man, I mean, I feel like people don't really understand, the joy people really get from playing football until it's taken away from you. And that's feel like that's been really probably the hardest part. Playing this game since I've been 4 years old, it's really just been, not really. I mean, there's always when you run into it, the soreness or being tired or being a little hurt. But when you're injured and physically not able to do something, that's when it's hurting. Because you see your teammates out there, you see the fun, the brotherhood that you formed, and you're not out there to be able to have fun. So.
And, I've seen you out there working, trying to get back into game shape. So I got to ask you, because everyone wants to know, do you have an idea of when we could see you back out there?
Very soon.
Okay.
That's a good enough answer.
My boy's a vet now. That's a certified. He's a vet now. You're not getting my guy. He's not a rookie.
We were going to get a little bit, but
I would have had a different answer last season. I feel like I've been on the show 2 seasons now. Come on, guys.
That's funny.
All right, so there you have it. And again, from left to right, Torrey Smith, of course, Rick Ritter from WJZ, Isaiah Likely, and Alex Glaze. Looks like that's going to be a new Wednesday night show. I don't know how often, maybe periodically with Isaiah Likely throughout the season, or maybe it is a weekly thing on Wednesdays. I'm sure that's an easy Google search. But Jamison Hensley, other reporters, chatted with Isaiah during locker room availability today, and he said he's taking it, quote, day by day. You know me. I want to be out there, he told reporters. And again, early August, that's all really he's removed from, what's that, not even 6 weeks, or maybe around 6 weeks, a little over 6 weeks since foot surgery for that fractured foot, or partially fractured foot. So he's been a limited participant in practice this week. Sure looks like he is trending towards at least being able to give it a go. I'd expect him to be on somewhat of a snap count or pitch count, whatever you want to call it, coming up on Monday night. That means more 12 personnel for Todd Monken and company. That means probably, I would think, a ripple effect in the positive direction for people like Mark Andrews, other pass catchers on this team, knowing that 80's presence alone, right, is something you have to account for if you're Detroit's defense. Now, I think we've sort of buried the lead here in a little bit. Don't you think so? Because Nnamdi Madubuike has not practiced all week long. He has had, maybe not statistically speaking when it comes to sack productivity, but he has had a very disruptive start to the season up front in terms of his pressure rate. His pass rush win rate is always something. I just completely botched that. There's not enough Celsius. When you wake up at 5:30, bust your ass from 6 up until showtime, then do a 2-hour show on the vault, then turn around immediately, somehow land Mina Kimes, which I'll get into in just a bit, and I do have to shout out Manny for that, obviously, and eat some humble pie. Let Tilly out, say hello to the neighbor, get set up for Baltimore departure flight-wise coming up on Sunday, get some lunch, and then all of a sudden press conferences are happening at 3. Then you look at the Detroit side of things, get ready for a 5 o'clock show. Now it's almost 6 o'clock. I mean, there is not enough Celsius to go around. Maybe another walk and talk coming up tonight. Maybe if you're lucky, I'll start telling you about that, or maybe about last night and how it went south. Nothing went south. It just wasn't the right fit for me. But English starts to go after 6 o'clock or coming up on 6 o'clock. So thank you for your understanding in advance. Where was I? Nnamdi Madubuike. If he can't go coming up on Monday night, it's a big loss for the Ravens, man. He brings it from an interior pressure standpoint. He's great against the run. He's relentless. If he can't go, I would suspect that Brent Urban will get the call up. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be an every down guy for them at this point in his career, but I have to think you're bringing him up from the practice squad, don't you think? You got to get a lot from Travis Jones. I suspect that John Jenkins will be playing. It's going to be a by committee type of replacement. You can't replace Nnamdi Madubuike. All right, regardless of what you think about the guy, since he got that big time payday, what was it, after 2023? Okay, they sold out. Offenses sold out to stop him last year. Double teamed the hell out of him. They were pulling out, throwing the kitchen sink at him. And I know he went from 12 and a half or whatever it was, 12, 13 sacks in 23 to 6.5 last year or 5.5 or whatever it was. But that's because he was known. Teams refused to be beat by Nnamdi Madubuike for the second consecutive season. So it's a big deal if he can't go. Now, remember, since this game is played on Monday, technically today is Thursday on the calendar, meaning there's one more injury report, as you see here, before ultimately game statuses are released coming up tomorrow. So that'll be something that we'll have to look out for. And I'll probably try to go live tomorrow. I'll do my best. We'll see what happens because I'm flying out on Sunday morning and there's a lot going on tomorrow. But I would love to go live again just so we can be clear on what's happening in terms of their overall availability as a team. Now, as for the Detroit perspective, let's see what's going on here. To be quite honest with you, I hadn't even had a chance to look at this until now. So let's just see what's going on with some of their players. Davenport is one you want to watch. He's their talented edge rusher. He's been dealing with a chest. Looks like he's trending towards not being able to go coming up on Monday. He's been a DNP so far, Thursday, Friday, much like Nnamdi has. Who else is on this list that matters? Kirby Joseph. Looks like he's fine. He's dealing with the knee, though, limited. so far this week. He's a veteran, very talented safety for them. DJ Reed is somebody that you'll want to watch, but he's been limited. Doesn't look to be an issue. Jack Campbell, linebacker, has been upgraded to limited. So Davenport's one to watch. And I can't imagine Kirby Joseph's going to have a setback, but that'll obviously be something to look out for if you're, throwing money on this game or whatever, or as you're just kind of covering it and reading the tea leaves leading up to game time itself. And if you are throwing money around, maybe you'll consider a new partnership that I got going on, getting involved with my bookie. If you're waiting for Sunday to start betting, you're missing half the fun and half the money. College football is already cooking. Got upsets galore, blowouts, wild covers, you name it. My bookie lets you hit it all. Game lines, player props, and more. Everything you need before the pros even kick off. So when Sunday rolls around, you're already up. My bookie's got it all under one roof. You can win big on the NFL Super Contest and Survivor pools. And if you're new to my bookie, potentially use my code if you're interested, Bobby B. That's BOBBYB. And any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. You can make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token, My Bookies, where bettors win together, because bragging is good, but cashing in is better. And do me the favor, do yourself and your family and your friends, your significant others, so on and so forth, the favor that if you're having trouble controlling the whole urge to gamble, please do me the favor and call 1-800-GAMBLER if you think you need help. 1-800-522-4700. Do me that solid. Do everybody in your life. Do yourself that solid. I appreciate you guys. Thanks to MyBookie. Thanks to Profit X. Thanks to Charm City Spirits. All my sponsors. Big deal when you sponsor the channel. It really helps out immensely, more than you guys know. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. And I will get to more super chats before I close if you have them. Over 900 concurrents here at the moment. Big Friday evening show. Listen to what Troy Aikman had to say about the emergence, or I don't want to say emergence because he hasn't done much in terms of high volume, but certainly he's made the most of his opportunities, and that is 33-year-old wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, who's in, of course, year one with the Baltimore Ravens. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck will be in the booth calling this game for ESPN on Monday night, and here is the Hall of Famer on DeAndre Hopkins.
He's been a good fit, and it's really what I thought this offense needed a year ago, if not even before then, is somebody who could go down the field and make plays on these contested balls, these 50-50 balls down the field. He hasn't had that type of wide receiver really over the years, and so DeAndre Hopkins, he's already shown that. He's shown that in the first couple of weeks with some of the highlight catches that he's already made. And at 33 years old, I mean, that people say, well, is he slowing down? That was his game even when he was in his 20s. He's never been this burner. He's been a good route runner, but a guy who just is really competitive at the point of the catch. So I thought it was a great pickup, and it's been nice to see him do what he's been able to do and what he's added to that offense for Baltimore.
Well said there by the Hall of Famer, multi-time champ. That is, of course, Troy Aikman, who will be in the booth alongside Joe Buck coming up on Monday night. It's an 8:15 kickoff. As a reminder, I will be live from the Be More Around Town tailgate at 801 West Austin Street outside M&T Bank Stadium. It's on the Fed side of M&T Bank, probably around 5 o'clock. And if you guys don't have plans, you're looking to kind of plan out your day on Monday, I would love for you to come by, BeMoreAroundTown.com. I have direct links, show notes, live chat, and you'll also see information that's streaming right now on the bottom ticker, on the bottom line. Code Bobby 5, BOBBY 5, the number 5, will get you $5 off your entry fee into the Be More Around Town tailgate. Go Gadget's going to be performing. They're going to have a DJ there. It's unbelievable. Jimmy Smith, of course, will be the Ravens legend of the game. I would love to see you guys out there. As for D-Hop, again, look, Evan's probably somewhere cursing me out that I'm continuing to stand 10 toes down, 10 motherfucking toes down on, I don't know, the idea that I was wondering if DeAndre Hopkins would be needle moving or not. And I didn't think he would be, but that didn't mean I didn't think he would be impactful. And while I think the jury's still out on needle moving per se, and of course, a lot of this is subjective when it comes to how you define personally needle moving in the NFL. But I think Troy's right that he is bringing a presence of contested catchability, 50-50 ball winning ability, veteran savvy, experience, championship type pedigree, even though he's still searching for that elusive Lombardi trophy, which I'm sure led him to coming to Baltimore in a sense. He has been impactful. It's been a small sample size, 4 targets. He's caught all 4 balls that have come his way. 99 yards, an average of 24.8 per reception, 2 touchdowns, and a long of 41, including what we watched right out of the half when they tested Cleveland vertically in that third quarter to begin the second half in week 2 at the bank last weekend. I mean, this is a player that still feels like he has more to prove. Derrick Henry certainly knows that he's going to stand by him, as he did earlier today during his media scrum, courtesy of Karita Parks and Bowie TV.
His whole career, everybody knows that stigma. You get up in age, all of a sudden, something's changed. But hopefully they keep calling him Watch because that shit been working. So we need.
Hopefully they keep calling him Washed. That shit's working. We need it. Run that back once more.
I think he's done his whole career. Everybody knows that stigma. You get up in age, all of a sudden, something's changed. But hopefully they keep calling him Watch because that shit been working. So we need it.
Oh, King, just like he did at the top of the show, right? Sometimes when he doesn't make crazy, like headline driving statements all the time, but when he does talk, he means it. Just like he did about himself, looking inward about his performance against Cleveland. Quote, be better and never let that happen again. Me, myself, first, be better, be more efficient, and be more explosive. Then on DeAndre and some of the noise out there, hopefully they keep calling him Washed. That shit's working. We need it. The dynamic within this locker room is really something. It's undeniable. And so, hey, clearly DeAndre and Lamar have that rapport. Lamar trusts him. And maybe, just maybe, to Troy's point, this has been the missing piece when it comes to the vertical threat, the presence that DeAndre brings, that savvy, that separator within. Somehow, some way, you can have blanketed coverage on this guy, and he will find a way, if you give him an inch, to take a mile, and he certainly did that on a young corner against the Browns last weekend. He is so much fun to watch play this game. I mean, he just... The guy understands himself, understands route running, understands how to put himself in advantageous positions. And I would think that, granted, when Isaiah Likely comes back, he'll have to be factored in to this snap share and target share and everything else that Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson have to juggle. But it's an embarrassment of riches. Todd Monken has the best and also maybe at the same time the hardest job league-wide when it comes to divvying this up, keeping everybody happy in this room. And at some point, you kind of wonder who's going to have the short end of the stick. It's a very slow statistical start for Mark Andrews. Will Isaiah Likely's presence flip that script immediately for Mark? Or could this be the beginning of the end for Mark in Baltimore? I'm not saying that he's not busting his ass out there. He already spoke out on that this week specifically, talking about the blocking, talking about what he opened up for Derrick Henry at times this season. He is the ultimate selfless team player. But it will be really interesting. Not everybody can eat. Not everybody can eat. PBR Poppy hit me with a super chat. He writes, I'll be at Be More Around Town Monday. Haven't been Bobby since Buffalo. I also got to hit Lot G for PHP. A lot to do before kickoff. Got to be in the seats by 7:30. Anyone in section 129, let me know. Well, I can tell you this for sure, Poppy, PBR Poppy. That reminds me of, God, is that PBR meaning like power plant? Like the PBR bar and power plant, which is the country bar upstairs? If that's the case, I got some stories up there of my underclassmen years at Loyola that I probably shouldn't tell out loud until I start drinking some of this behind me over my right shoulder. But I can tell you who's going to be in section 126. That's Eric Hill and a cavalry of Voltrons, thanks to his generosity. So enjoy that. I would love to see you, Poppy, and everybody else at the Be More Around Town tailgate coming up on Monday night, probably in the 4 or 5 o'clock hour, depending on when you're getting out there. We will have a noon lunch hour live stream as well. Jimmy Smith will be at the Be More Around Town tailgate. I cannot wait to get out there. Cannot wait. Super fired up about it. Thank you, PBR Poppy, for the support. A couple thoughts for me. One on Mina Kimes, two on John Harbaugh, and I'll actually go in reverse order, and I'll close with some thoughts on our interview with the great ESPN's Mina Kimes earlier this afternoon. I think it's always helpful, again, kind of what I alluded to earlier on, to check in with, if you will, the opponent's perspective on the team that you either watch, covet, and ultimately ride or die for, or in my case, cover on a year-round daily basis, just to kind of be reminded of the way that they're looked at, the way that they are seen. And in this case, special teams coordinator for the Detroit Lions, Dave Phipp. I thought you can learn a lot about John Harbaugh, his reputation throughout the league, right? And the way others within the coaching brotherhood, in this case, view the second longest tenured head coach in the National Football League. Here is Lions special teams coordinator Dave Phipp with some glowing remarks on John Harbaugh.
Do you appreciate a guy like John Harbaugh, kind of cut his teeth in the league, coaching special teams? And when you watch them, I know Dan spends a ton of time. There's obviously such a huge emphasis on special teams. Do you see that with Baltimore too? Are they similar in that regard?
Yeah. Number one, I'd say I have a lot of respect for him. So when I got to Philly, he wasn't the guy who was there before me, but he was before that guy, and had done an incredible job, obviously. And so I heard a lot about him. That's all you heard about when you were coaching special teams in Philly was Harbaugh. The truth is he's done an incredible job as a football coach, and I would say as a special teams coach and as a head coach. Thing I admire the most from my shoes right now is he's won with the Baltimore Ravens, number one, for a long time, for a lot of years in a row, been highly successful. And the part that I really appreciate is that he's done it in a lot of different ways. He's done it with a drop back quarterback. He's done it with a mobile quarterback. He's had to adjust and evolve and adapt his systems throughout the course of his career there. He's done it with different defenses and different approaches on defense. And I think when you're a special teams coach, to be honest with you, you learn a lot about that, because here's the players this year, here are the players you got that year, and so you're not like, well, this is my system on offense, this is my system on defense, this is what I do on special teams. You have to evolve to the players that you have, and I think he's done that as good as any coach in the National Football League. Obviously, when you come from coaching special teams, you understand the roster, the top of it and the bottom of it. You understand all three phases. You understand complementary football, and I think they just do a number of things very, very well. So I have a lot of respect for him. He's always been great to me. I think he does a great job. His teams play well. His special teams groups are always hard to play against. We got our challenges this week against those guys. They're always long. They're physical. They're very sound. They stay in their gaps. They stay in their areas. They can rush the punt. They put pressure on you there. Their kickers put pressure on the returners. They get the ball on the ground in both phases now, even on their kickoff. So it'll be a great opportunity for us.
He went on and on and on. Okay. That is special teams coordinator for the Detroit Lions, who apparently got his start, or at least one of his starts along the way, in Philadelphia. And we know John Harbaugh is revered there from his work as a special teams coordinator underneath the great Andy Reid. But take a look. Look, I know I can already see you're throwing cap emojis all around. You turn it off, turn away. My ears are bleeding, all that bullshit. But you know what? Have a little bit of perspective. Have a little bit of an open mind in terms of what others are saying, in this case, within the NFL brotherhood. Okay, some of this is coaches speak. I get it. They're buttering these guys up, which is what you do to the opponent at times, at least. Well, not if you're Cleveland, because, again, when you're that, it was an amateurish. By the way, outside of Myles Garrett, Joe Flacco, a couple others there, I thought Delpit, even though he backed it up, Jerry Jeudy, what they did in the media last week was an embarrassment. That's what you do when you know you're inferior to a team, right? Whereas the Detroit way, like Baltimore and Detroit, model franchises. Now, Detroit hasn't been that way all these years, really, until Dan Campbell got there, and he had to take his lumps immediately too. It took some time to turn that organization around. But these guys, this is how you do it. This is stable. This is consistent model franchises right now. And that's how you handle your business, right? That's when you know that you're well coached, you're sound, right? You got fundamentals down, you've got a robust staff, you're comfortable in your own skin. Cleveland was not comfortable in its own skin in the days that led up to last weekend, and it showed ultimately. They were stellar as a defensive front unit for the majority of that game. But ultimately, you got a lot of pretenders, I think, within that locker room. They aren't talented. Everybody's talented at the NFL level, but I thought there was a little bit of pretending versus contending going on last week. But again, Dave Phipp quoted for saying the truth is he's done an incredible job as a football coach. And I would say as a special teams coach and as a head coach, he's done it with a drop back quarterback. He's done it with a mobile quarterback. You have to evolve to the players that you have. And I think he's done that as good as any coach in the National Football League. I have a lot of respect for him. That from one member of the fraternity, if you will, that is the coaching fraternity, to another in John Harbaugh. Interesting thoughts there from Dave Phipp, special teams coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Well, time for me to eat a little bit of humble pie, folks, because Manuel's Gaming Channel, I think you guys know him as the assassin himself, the cold-blooded assassin by the name of Manny, Mexico City's finest, huge supporter of all of my channels, whether it be the Collective on Tuesday nights, whether it be the Vault at noon, weekdays, year-round, or, of course, periodically late afternoons this time of season, and this time of the year, the Bobby Baltimore channel. And that is Mr. Manny himself, who for 50-plus days straight, as you see with this screenshot from his Twitter account, go follow him at Craig0, went to town on behalf of the Vault, okay? And what did he go to town on? Pause. He tweeted at Mina Kimes for 50-plus days, 55 to be exact, and I had the audacity, half joking, half kidding, yesterday to tell him that while we booked Mina, and then I had the wrong time, by the way, I'll give you some context on that in just a bit, as much as I was appreciative of his enthusiasm, I told him with a straight face that I went through her booking agent, who I got to know personally in Indianapolis at the Combine. What a dick move. My man, okay, and I got to pull up the episode. I hope you guys will consider doing the same as well. It's currently right now in a couple different places. It's on our live stream, which went over 2 hours earlier today. It's also available to you in our best of playlist section. I'll show it to you right now on the Vault. You can see it right here. Front page, go to the Vault on YouTube right here. Best of clips with Mina Kimes. It's about a 15-minute episode, and I screwed up. I had a miscommunication breakdown with ESPN's awesome booking agent and talent in front of the show, and Marylander, Lily Blum. I thought it was 1:40 p.m. on Monday afternoon. Guys, it was 1:40 today on a Purple Friday, and I fucked that up. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear this. Can you hear what's on the screen right now?
When's the
Let me
last
know if you can hear this.
Jared
Give me a
Goff
thumbs
into
up,
third and
thumbs
longs?
down.
It's completely
or a
different
yes or
offense.
no.
Baltimore
Can you
is
hear what's
more
on the screen? Because I
1:40
want
p.m.
to
on Monday, not
jump
1:40
ahead
p.m.
to
on
what
Friday.
Mina
So
Kimes told
right
us
now, because
at the end of this
The
episode,
timeline-
because it
we
cracked
know
me
you're
up.
up against it.
Okay,
The
you guys can
ultimate
hear it.
personality pick, by the way, is
Why
your
can't I
sign
hear
above
it?
your
No,
right
let's unmute
shoulder.
this.
Dogs welcome, people tolerated. That is exceptional. Every
Thank
time I
you.
watch your show, I'm like, I need one of those behind my right shoulder.
I think my mom gave that to me. Thanks.
We know you got a ton of coverage coming up. We know you're so busy. So thank you so much for carving out some time. And we're looking forward to Monday night's pregame show and everything else.
Yeah, I'd love to come back on. I'm sorry I'm a bit up against it time-wise, but people are always telling me to go on this show. When Lily sent the name, I was like, oh, yeah, I know that show, because people are always in my mentions saying, go in the Vault, go in the Vault, go in the Vault. So let's do this again in a couple of weeks or something. I would love to come back on and spend some more time with you guys.
That'd be awesome. That would be fantastic. And by the way, we have a guy that did 55 straight days of mention. His name is Manny. So we just wanted to shout
Is that
him
who
out.
it is? Maybe that's the one who I see all the time.
Talent, I guess, at this point.
It's
So-
multiple people, honestly, that I've seen, but it's a joy to join you guys.
And there you have it. Mina Kimes, without mentioning his name, which I was sure to because I knew I needed to take some laps. There you have it. 55 days. Manny, I salute to you. Thank you for the unrelenting support that you give to this channel. And that goes for all of you guys. We appreciate you so much. Over 26,000 subscribers and counting on the vault. Over 25,000 and counting. And I'm not good at math, but I know that's over 50,000 combined subscribers between here and the vault, not to mention what we have going on over at the collective. Thank you guys for all the consistent support that you guys give me. And that includes super chats that continue to pour in. PBR Poppy says, Pabst Blue Ribbon, bro. The name is Ian. You signed my football in Buffalo. I'll see you Monday night. Shout out Mina. I remember that. I remember that well. Ian from the Buffalo tailgate in Western New York. You are the man. Thank you for chiming into today's live stream. I hope to see you at some point at a Be More Around Town tailgate. And that Bills pregame show was absolute absurdity in the frozen tundra that was Western New York, as we all remember. So thank you, Ian, for the super chat. Thanks to all of you guys. A little walk-in talk on deck for me. More details to come on that. And I will try and fit in a live stream tomorrow. I hope you guys will join me. Thanks to Charm City Spirits over my right shoulder. Thanks to, I haven't even had a chance to talk about Anda's Seat, my brand new gaming chair. The folks at Anda's Seat were kind enough to send this my way. I'll tell you more about them in the coming weeks. Thanks to my God, Profit X, MyBookie, Preston Automotive Group, and everybody else that chooses to support this program. Over 1,000 of you hanging with me right now. I would love for you to join the Bobby Baltimore Discord server if you haven't already done so by clicking on the link that's in a couple different places, one of which is in the show notes, and the other is right now in the live chat. It's free to join. It's a 24/7 hub for conversation surrounding Baltimore sports, and there's a ton of like-minded Baltimore sports and Ravens fans in this case that all hang in there, and we're getting up to 1,000 Discord community members ever so slightly. Thank you, guys. Have an awesome start to your weekends. Get ready for Monday Night Football. Enjoy the college slate of games coming up tomorrow, and maybe we'll catch up with you tomorrow here inside the Bobby Baltimore lines. Thanks to all of you for hanging around. I'll catch up with you soon.